So far in this series, I haven't told a ghost story. And as this is the last show in the series, I think tonight is tonight. If I may, I would like to tell you a true story. A story about a house that had a bad room, what they call in Ireland a bad room. It had an atmosphere. People were loath to go into it. They didn't wish to have anything to do with it. And if people heard about this room and they wanted to go and see it, the people of the house would say, please don't go near the room. And if you do go near the room, always go with somebody, because it has some sort of fatal attraction to draw those people in. And people would open the door and let people look into the room. And the sense of attraction to that room was like a magnetic pull. They would want to go in. And that is why the other person was there, always to stop them. And then one young, foolish man decided against all advice that he would spend the night in the room. And people pleaded with him, scolded him, shouted at him, screamed with him, fought with him. And he said, no, I will spend the night in the room to rid us all of this superstitious rubbish. And he went in to that room. And the door, without any human being touching, closed behind him. And they all waited. And they all waited until about 6 o'clock in the morning. And from that room, there was the most horrendous, soul-destroying scream. And they all rushed up to the room, and they opened the door, and there was nothing there at all. No sign of the young man, except a pungent smell of animal and brimstone mixed together. And lying on the floor was a shoe. That's all, nothing more. And the story was printed in the paper and people came to hear about it. And eventually it got to the ears of one of the great Jesuits, who was an exorcist. And he decided that he would go to this room and he would attempt to exorcise this evil, this presence, this prince of darkness, whatever it might be that was in that room. And again the people pleaded. They said no, and he said, no, I shall do it. But if by chance something happens to me in this room, if the pattern is the same, one of my shoes will remain in that room. And whatever happens, whatever is the secret of the evil of that room, I will write that upon my shoe. And if I am not there, look to my shoe, because the answer to this puzzle will be upon the shoe. And he arrived, entered the room, and the door closed behind him. And the people sat downstairs by a fire, and they waited. And the clock, this large grandfather clock, ticked away the time, quietly. And from upstairs they could hear the priest praying. They could smell the incense. And at about 4:30 in the morning, they looked at the dog, who was asleep by the fire, and in his sleep he had begun to growl. And as they looked at him, the hackles on the back of the dog began to rise. And he gave out the most baleful of hound-like howls. And from the room upstairs, they heard the scream. And they ran up with lights, with crosses, with crucifixes, with holy water. Open the door. And all there was this pungent smell and a shoe. And they ran to the shoe, they picked it up, they turned it over, and burnt into the sole of that shoe were 2 words: size 9.